Heated shenanigans, working stiffer than mannequins. Vader time like a mannequin, mega powers, I'm savage and peep the babbling. Got him shook off the verbal acumen. I'm the main event, meaning nobody coming after him. The topics we be tackling, ankle locking and tapping them. I hate seafood, but I might throw the Boston crab on him. You know sometimes it gets heated. You know sometimes it gets heated.
Hello, everybody. What's going on, man?
What's up? How we doing out there, folks?
It's 80 degrees outside, and I have on a sweatshirt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wearing all black, so like I can't really say anything.
I'm not gonna lie. Earlier, like right before, like we started, when you stood up to walk away, I thought you were like cosplaying as Terry Funk because of the design on the shorts.
I mean, I bought a Terry Funk shirt at Squared Circle, and it would match. I picked out Eddie Kingston came out of the dryer today, so. But yeah, I mean, it would fit. Speaking of Terry Funk, let's talk 2K24 real quick because he was just in the update for the new roster pack. It was Punk, Sandman, Terry Funk, and the Dudleys. Whew! They added light tubes, a door, a barbed wire bat, and you can throw items at people. So I've just been fucking standing back and just hucking light tubes at people for like days now.
I'm happy that they finally got Sandman into an updated video game.
Yeah, he was only in the one. As far as WWE goes, he was only in the one.
Well, as we wait for a few more people to join in here with us, as you can see from the thumbnail, we're going to be covering the top 5 worst gimmicks in professional wrestling. And again, we'll say at the top of the episode here, this is merely opinion-based. This isn't the law of God, so please.
It's just the law according to the Heated Shenanigans boys.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to like or agree with it. Just be respectful in the comments.
The thing with this topic, though, is there's a plethora of bad ones that, like, the pool to pick from is so big that I feel like this is another one, like the last one we did with the 5 people who should have been champ. This is one where, like, there could be no crossover in this because there are that many bad ones. And there are some bad ones that, like, I know friends of mine who, like, they haven't watched wrestling since they were a kid, but they saw guys during the Ruthless Aggression era that they're like, that guy was sick. And I look at him, I'm like, that guy was horrible. And it was a terrible gimmick.
I also want to, there's only 2 of us on today's episode. I'm going to give a shout out to Mike. He's got some stuff going on, some other plans to take care of for today. So looking forward to having Mike on for the upcoming episode. We got more top 5s. I definitely want to do the game night in this format. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But I would be worried about people in the chat possibly giving answers away.
Well, question, if the moderator, can you see the chats if I don't highlight them?
No, I can only see what you highlight. If I had a separate, which I'm looking into it, just like a cheap phone I can connect to the Wi-Fi and use YouTube for. If I had that with YouTube up, I could see all the comments as they were coming in.
Okay.
But no, I can only see what you highlight.
Well, before we get started, guys, just a quick reminder, please like and subscribe if you have not already. If you're new to the channel, if you're a returning viewer and you've not gotten around to subscribing yet, please do subscribe. And with that said, let's kind of go over how this will work. We'll go back and forth. Chase, you'll kick it off. We are giving our top 5 worst gimmicks in professional wrestling history. We're talking across ECW, WCW, WWE, TNA, AEW.
Hell, if you want to go back to horrible gimmicks in the territories, we can take it back, brother.
All the way back.
All the way back.
Black and white, it won't matter. We're going to have Gorgeous George, Wahoo McDaniel. I'm just kidding.
If anybody knows about black and white wrestling, it's Scott, bud.
I was there for it, man.
All right.
The original Nature Boy?
I'm going to get us started here, I suppose. So number 5 was a WCW gimmick. And it was one that wasn't necessarily bad because of the presentation. It was bad because it was what it was representing and or mocking. And number 5 is Oklahoma.
Yeah.
For somebody like Ed Ferrara, who got coffee and carried papers for our boy Vinny Roo, to go on national television and mock a disability of probably one of the top 5 most respected people in the wrestling business. Like, the only bad things people have to say about him are, oh, he had to fire me, but that was his job. So, like, for you to go out and do that, that is horrible. By far, one of the worst things ever. It's just poor taste is what it was more than anything else. And you put the cruiserweight title on yourself. Like, and then you lost it to Medusa. So, like, what are we doing here, bro? It's just ridiculous. That's number 5.
That's a very, very good number 5. I mean, in a bad way, but
yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Also, guys, throughout this, please, in the comments, let us know. Chime in with your top 5 worst gimmicks in professional wrestling history. Number 5 for me, staying in WCW. So this is a tag team.
Oh, I think I know where this is going.
This, to me, was the shining example of the stupidity of Jim Herd. This sums it all up. Outside of
I know exactly where this is going.
Outside of wanting to make Ric Flair a Spartan warrior.
Yeah.
There's a tag team that Jim Herd came up with called Ding and Dong. I should have pulled up a graphic for this. You can't make this shit up. This was a legitimate tag team, Ding and Dong. They had little bells on the chest.
Horrible.
Stupid. Like, it didn't last very long by the grace of the good Lord. It was short-lived, but it was just an idiotic idea and an idiotic tag team. I don't know who the 2 guys that were under the mask. I didn't really do a whole lot of research into the Ding and Dong tag team, but that's number 5 for me. Worst gimmick.
The drizzling shits that one was. Golly. Hello. Number 4 for me is this is a WWF gimmick. This is a new generation gimmick. It kind of crossed over Crocodile Dundee meets wrestling, and we're talking Skinner, baby. Skinner is number 4 on the worst gimmicks ever. Let me tell you why Skinner was bad. Because he was a fucking crocodile hunter that wrestled. That was the dumbest shit ever. It made no sense. Like, just to take somebody like who Steve Kern?
Yes.
Okay, to take somebody like Steve Kern, who was in his day, I've never seen the tape, folks. In his day, I'm led to believe that he was a hell of a worker. To take a Steve Kern and to make him wrestling Steve Irwin was not one of Vince McMahon's finer points in life. Yeah, Skinner's that's a weird one. That's number 4.
Surprisingly, no crossover at all yet. I feel like if we would have, looking at the new era generation, we could have probably picked like 20 gimmicks off of that for this.
Oh, for sure, dude.
But yeah, again, guys, make sure to leave your comments in the chat here about who has the worst gimmick in professional wrestling. Number 4 for me. It's a current. It's a current talent. And really, it's anything this individual has ever done. And that's anything Karrion Kross has done.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. Like, it's dry. It is unwatchable. If this dude was not with Scarlett, he would be out of a job.
That's probably a very fair assessment. And it's crazy because when he was in TNA, I liked him. I was super into him. He was bald. He wore sunglasses and a trench coat, and he just came out and just suplexed people on their heads. So, like, he doesn't translate. I mean, you have a very, very valid point.
It's weird because, like, Karrion Kross has like a really good look to him, but like every gimmick this dude has done, I want to get behind it. The hourglass thing, the Final Testament. Like, it's one of those, like, I think if somebody more talented and charismatic was in the charge of it, it would go over a lot better. But number 4 for me is anything related to Karrion Kross.
So real quick, do you think if Triple H had, because he came in during Triple H's Black and Gold NXT, if Triple H hadn't had his heart attack and Vince hadn't shit-canned everybody and took over NXT, do you think that Karrion Kross would have translated better under Triple H doing NXT and helping him develop the character when he went to the main roster? Because he wasn't there for very long. He was only there for like 6-7 months. And then they called him up. And he jobbed to Jeff Hardy, and he wore a stupid hat.
I mean, I want to say yes. I mean, Triple H has the Midas touch when it comes to WWE talent. But again, like, when it comes to these dark supernatural characters, you can really only have so many of them on a main roster for them to feel special, feel unique, which I don't know. We'll get into the Wyatt 6 at another episode, but
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I would like to think that Triple H could eventually work on something for him. But yeah.
Who knows? We can see. So that was number 4. Number 3 on Chase's list of worst gimmicks in wrestling history is a ruthless aggression era gimmick. We're talking like late 2004 to like 2006. And we're talking the social fitness or the fitness guru himself, Simon Dean.
Really?
Simon Dean, the gimmick was horrible. So his whole thing before a match was to try to get people to sign up for the Simon system. Everybody is already jacked and in really good shape. So your gimmick is dead in the water. You're selling shit that useless. It's a pointless sell. Secondly, to take Nova, who was super cool and super over in later ECW, and turn him into Simon Dean, not fair. They could have just left him as Supernova. Him and Hurricane Helms could have been a tag team. They could have done stuff on like Velocity and shit, and it would have been fine dandy. Or just let him go and let him go to TNA and just be Nova and just be super cool. Simon Dean was awful. That was crap.
Okay, would you have liked it better if he was selling his Simon system to obese wrestlers and there was like improvement happening from it?
I mean, yeah, because then the gimmick can go somewhere. But
I guess it would be
when you get in the ring with Batista and you're like, hey, with a little help, I can get you looking better than ever. And Batista's just standing here titty dancing at him. No, that's horrible. Awful. Simon Dean, number 3.
See, I think the Simon thing could have been better. Like if they would have went the reverse, like the Simon system is like making wrestlers larger and
it's getting them out of shape instead of in shape, and that's just how he like mind fucks everybody.
I think that'd been cool. Like if he would have done that to like a mid-card champion, get him hooked on it. Like their performance goes down. Like you got like a title off of them. That would have been kind of cool.
Yeah.
Man, that gimmick could have went a lot differently. It could have been a lot better.
It went horrible. Number 3, sir.
Number 3, I am taking one person out of this group and excluding them from this because this individual does have a lot of good character work. He's good on the mic. He was pretty good in the ring. But the remainder of the group are all eligible for this. And that is the supporting cast in the Dungeon of Doom. I'm going with Zodiac, Shark, Kamala, Ming, which he wasn't Ming. He was something else within that group. But anyway, like, and the guy that was like the head evil emperor devil guy.
King Curtis. Yeah. He looked like a fat white Buddha.
It was like the Temu version of the Ministry of Darkness.
Before the Ministry of Darkness. Yeah.
Kevin Sullivan aside, everybody else in the ministry, everybody else in the dungeon, horrible gimmicks for that.
Yeah, that was bad. Number 2, big number 2. Number 2 for me is we're going back to the new generation on this one, and we're going tag team here. And that tag team would be Techno Team 2000, Travis and Troy. My God, that sucked so bad. That didn't even have like legs enough to get off the ground. You know how like when deers, like baby deers are born, like they stumble before they figure it out? They never figured it out. They just kept stumbling and then they were gone. The only reason that one of them had a job was because his dad was working in the office. Bill Watts' kid was one of the people in Techno Team 2000. It was just like the outfits they wore were they were silver, and they looked like the bad guys that helped Dr. Evil in Austin Powers. They're wearing like the fucking like tinfoil suits around the fucking in the volcano or whatever. That's what it looked like. They looked like Dr. Evil's evil henchmen.
I'm not gonna lie, they almost made the list for me. They would have fallen under an dishonorable mention.
Yeah, that's fair.
But no, they were.
So I thought about one. I don't know that it ever actually saw the light of day. I just know that it was a Jim Hurt idea. So I'll talk about that after we're done.
I'm looking forward to this. Number 3 for me was Stalker Diamond Dallas Page.
Yeah.
Damn near sunk his WWE run. Like, I mean,
they had a pretty good job.
Dallas was a main event level guy, one of the top guys to come out of WCW, really one of the select few organically made talent in WCW. You bring him to WWE, you make him look like a predator, you make him look like a creep, a deviant, just a horrible way to present an elite top main event talent in Diamond Dallas Page.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
And they fed him to the Undertaker.
We're to number 1 here, and we have had no crossover, but this is where I fear the crossover happens. So my number 1 worst gimmicks ever. We're going WCW. No
crossover.
Whoa! We're going WCW, and we're talking. There was a match happening in the ring. It was one Hulk Hogan versus one The Giant, and a certain Yeti came out and proceeded to hump Hulk Hogan in the ring
vigorously
for like 4 minutes straight, real hardcore. First of all, his name was the Yeti. On commentary, they called him the Yeti. And he was wrapped in toilet paper like a mummy. So, like, I've never been able. I've seen the clip a million times. I've never been able to wrap my head around why anybody thought that was a good idea ever. That looks horrible. It sounds horrible on paper, and it looked horrible in presentation. And I don't know, because it was before me. Was that the only time that the Yeti ever appeared?
So
for WCW?
There was another gimmick that he went on to play shortly after that called the Super Giant Ninja. That was the ring name.
Okay.
Reese something, I think, was the guy's name that portrayed both gimmicks. But there was another gimmick that he did as well that was equally horrible, but most famously known as the Yeti.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's a pretty bad one.
Yeah, that's horrible.
I so thought you were going to say the Shockmaster at 1.
No, listen, just for pure comedy, because you can hear all the background noise, Shockmaster wouldn't touch this list. There's no way, because it sucked, but I think the vision they had for the character was a lot, and they fucked up you don't ever get a second chance to make a first impression. And when you can hear Sting and Bulldog laughing and Bulldog saying he fell right on his ass right on camera, it kind of, it adds some comedy to it. It was almost like some Three Stooges stuff. But no, Shockmaster's great, dude.
The Yeti almost made the list for me.
Yeah, the Yeti.
It was close. Number 1 for me is a WWF gimmick, the New Generation.
Oh.
Mantar, was number one.
Ow!
For me.
I mean, it's not like the wildest pick ever, but that was a
I want you to imagine if you took all of Vader's talent, athleticism, and removed it, and then put him in a potato sack. That's what Mantar was.
They basically they were just like, all right, man, we got nothing for you, so we're just gonna make you a fucking bull. You're just gonna get out there and just fucking hurt people. That was horrible.
I'm sure the people within the furry community, that was their favorite wrestler. But no, Mantar, it was horrible. He was not that good in the ring either, which is what made it worse. It was a bad gimmick with bad wrestling.
Yeah, it was pretty horrible.
Well, we did one of these. I really wish Mike could have been a part of this because I want to see what his top 5 would have been.
Yeah.
If we would have had any crossover. But I'm surprised that we didn't have a single one crossover, even with the two of us.
So the one that I don't know ever made TV that I'm going to talk about real quick. So I've heard this story from a lot of people who were there. Jim Herd had another wonderful idea for a tag team. He was going to call them the Hunchbacks. Their shoulders can't touch the mat. They can never get pinned. They can never lose. Ole Anderson, being a smartass, looked at him and said, all right, I'll go out and just throw a sleeper hold on one of them and choke him out, and then your unbeatable team lost. So I don't know if they ever made TV, but the Hunchbacks easily probably would have been one of the worst gimmicks ever.
Jim Herd was a special.
Yeah, he was pretty bad. What are some other bad, like real rough ones?
7.
Hey, 7 was awesome.
What do you mean it was awesome?
7 was cool, dude. He was like a weird, like, child predator. I don't know. It's not cool in hindsight, but like the character looked cool. It was scary, at least. That's what they were going for. You want to talk shitty gimmicks? Let's talk Relic. You know Relic from TNA? It's Killer backwards. If you didn't know, now you know.
That one was bad. Oh Lord. There's so many early WCW ones that were horrible.
Yeah.
Big Josh was another one. The Lumberjack.
Oz.
You didn't like the Wizard?
I hated Oz, and so does Kevin Nash.
I love Vinny Vegas, though. Don't talk shit about Vinny Vegas.
The Master Blasters were pretty bad.
Max Moon
sucked pretty bad. TL Hopper, the wrestling plunger dude, or the wrestling fucking, what's it called? The guy that works on your pipes. Plumber.
Chris, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh God.
It's hard to think of any bad ones in TNA because nobody was really like a gimmick. Like they were like everybody just kind of like wrestled as like they just had like a regular wrestler name. Like when you think gimmicks, you think like Curry Man, Shark Boy, but like both of those were over with the fans, so you couldn't by any means call those a bad gimmick.
Would you say that WCW's MIA, Misfits in Action, was a terrible gimmick?
I don't think so, because I think that WCW fans liked it. The people enjoyed it. Huge Erection, Lieutenant Loco, GI Bro, like all of
Corporal
that.
Cajun.
Yeah, Major Guns, dude. Like it wasn't all horrible.
What about Berlin?
What about who?
Berlin, Alex Wrights.
Oh, I love Berlin and the Wall, dude. Fucking book the Wall, brother.
I don't think there's another one. The Maestro. You remember him with Paisley in late WCW?
Yeah, he kind of looked like Triple H.
Yeah.
What's Phantasmo? Do you remember that guy?
Yes.
He was like a magician. That was pretty horrible. Brooklyn Brawler was bad.
Man, there's a lot. Like the old school WWE had so many bad gimmicks. I mean, WCW wasn't safe from them either. We named off several.
Gobbledygooker is really bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy that had the baseball gimmick.
Ace Knuckleball Schwartz. Beaver Cleavage. Beaver Cleavage is a horrible look.
The Goon.
The Goon. The Goon sucked. Pretty bad, dude. Barry Windham is the Stalker. Not Barry Windham himself, but the Stalker was that was a bad gimmick.
Do you remember Buff Bagwell's first gimmick?
No.
The Handsome Stranger.
I don't like any of that.
He wore like you could buy it like at any Dollar General. It was like the black like Zorro mask. He wore that to the ring. What a horrible idea.
What about Disco?
I didn't mind Disco. Like,
Disco's not. I mean, in terms of character, he was fine, but I mean, I guess that's more along like worst workers of all time.
He wasn't Bret Hart by any means, but
no. What are some ECW ones? When they tried to do the first episode of WWECW when they brought the zombie out, that was dumb.
That is not ECW. That is
That's why I said WWECW. But OG ECW, what are some? I don't really think like everybody there was just kind of like a normal guy too. Like they all just went out and beat the shit out of each other.
I mean, Heyman didn't really allow them to do like anything stupid. I mean, you could argue. I mean, some people may not have been a fan of the BWO.
Oh, dude, I love the BWO. Big Stevie Cool, Blue Meanie. Oh, Hollywood love it. BWO was amazing.
I loved it. I thought it was funny. Like,
yeah, it was great.
I guess in a lot of this is your interpretation of what's considered bad in accordance to your taste.
Yeah, because like I'm trying to think of any more. I feel like a lot of people would say 3 Count was a bad gimmick, but I love 3 Count.
They would be wrong. 3 Count was amazing.
Wrestling boy band, dude, fire. The Oddities.
Oh, anything involving ICP sucked. So.
Okay. I don't know. Golga was bad. That was really bad.
Do you know who that was, right?
Yeah, that was Earthquake.
Yep.
The Truth Commission was bad.
Kurgan.
See, that's the crazy part. Was Kurgan had a good look. He was just very limited at what he could do.
He was Great Khali before Great Khali.
Yeah. Yeah. Who are some other bad gimmicks, man?
This might be a hot take, and there's a lot of people, they're kind of divided. Would you say Dude Love was a bad gimmick?
No. Dude Love was over because it was Mick Foley. People knew that it was Mick Foley playing a character, but they had the tape of him playing Dude Love as like a teenager. So like Dude Love, anything Mick Foley did was over everywhere he went. The
Executioner, remember him?
Terry Gordy? Yeah,
yes.
Under the Hood? Yeah, that's bad. That's real bad. Atom Bomb. Atom Bomb had a cool look.
He had a look to him. I don't know if I'd say it was bad, but Roadblock from WCW, Roadblock.
Was that
Lex tried 3 times to get his ass up for the rack.
Repo Man, to go from Demolition and Crusher Khrushchev to Repo Man, and then you go to WCW and you're the Blacktop Bully. It's horrible. Those are bad too.
Went on to get Dustin Rhodes fired from WCW with that match.
Yeah.
Out of the companies, it's probably, and if we like hardcore looked, I think WCW probably produced more bad gimmicks.
I don't know, dude. In that new generation, there were a lot of those occupational gimmicks that were bad. Duke the Dumpster, that was bad.
I like Duke. What's wrong with Dookie?
I mean, okay, Dookie. That's a crazy way to say his name. That's what's wrong with him. He was the shits. No, it was, I don't know, wrestling trash man, mid. What about the hog farmers?
Yeah, I'd probably give it to you on that one. I was not a fan of the Godwins.
Yeah, that was rough. I'm trying to think of more of those occupation gimmicks.
Sparky Plug.
Sparky Plug sucked. Hardcore Holly was fantastic. Hardcore Holly just got in there and just beat people up.
Somebody on the list, like a lot of people put Papa Shango on that list. I don't agree with that.
I mean, I wasn't around for like to see it happen, so I can only go off of like what's on tape and like I'm fucking in the 90s. I can only go what's off of like the internet and stuff. But like I wouldn't call that a bad one. I think Kama Mustafa was worse. Out of the 3 gimmicks, Kama was the worst. Then it was Papa Shango, which was like mid, and then Godfather is next level top tier. Val Venus, wrestling porn star. I think that only got over because of the time period.
You couldn't do that today. It wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work. You couldn't do Eugene today. And Eugene was massively over. Huge.
That's the thing. Eugene could have been a world champion.
The Mexicools was bad in terms of racism. That was just full on. Let's take 3 Hispanic guys and put them on a John Deere tractor and give them a rake and a shovel. That was just that. Whew.
That probably came from Vince. That was probably a Vince idea.
Had to. Yeah, I feel like we could do this all day. I mean, there's just, like I said in the beginning, there is a plethora of just bad gimmicks out there.
But you know what we haven't mentioned, though, and even in the dishonorable mentions, no female gimmicks.
Yeah, because, like, they weren't really gimmicks. Like, Luna wasn't a gimmick.
No.
I watched her dark side. Luna was Luna 24/7. Medusa wasn't a gimmick. She would really kick your ass because she could. Bull Nakano wasn't a gimmick. Like, a lot of the women in the Ruthless Aggression and Attitude Era, they weren't gimmicks. Like, they were, a lot of them were like just the word sounds shitty, but like eye candy, I guess.
Well, what about the first incarnation of Becky Lynch in NXT? That was bad.
Yeah, that was pretty rough, but that was still early. She was still finding herself. Because I've seen the first, like, because they record everything. So, like, I've seen the first interviews for Sasha Banks and Bayley, and those were rough, too. So, like, that's still them finding themselves. I guess with the gimmicks, they kind of get to TV and tell, oh, Kazarni? I was just talking to Keaton about Kazarni the other night.
Yeah, he was terrible.
Oh, another one, which was very short-lived not short-lived for good reason, but it just wasn't. Kerwin White.
Yeah.
You took a proud Latino wrestler, Chavo Guerrero, and turned him into a gated community white guy who went golfing and wore white Skechers. And he had Dolph Ziggler as a fucking caddy.
The bad part was, like, it took Eddie's passing to get out of it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was short-lived and not short-lived for good reason. Like, it was short-lived for, like, one of the worst ways you could imagine. But, like, it needed to be. It shouldn't have been a long gimmick by any means.
No, that was horrible. I mean, it's weird. You go back and look at how many of the older, I guess, New Generation era had a lot of bad gimmicks. You said the occupational gimmicks were bad. And
yeah.
But I think, like, the wisdom back then was, like, they were trying to come up with relatable characters. Like,
oh, yeah, they were trying to sell merch and gimmicks, and they were getting into accessories with the toys. So if you came out with something, that was something else to go in the box for kids to play with. Like, the hog farmers, they came with a bucket, and Duke Drosy probably came. I don't know because I did but like he probably came with a trash can at one point. Like
I don't think that's the thing. I don't think Duke got a figure.
A figure ever? Ooh.
I can ask him. Like I can see if, because I'm pretty sure around the time he got released, I think is when they pumped out the first wave of the Jakks BCS figures.
Was it okay? So he didn't get he didn't have a Bindum, because he would have been around for the Bindums.
Maybe he did. Maybe he did have a Bindum. I'm not sure.
And did he ever get like a Legends figure like on down the line in the OG Jakks Legends line?
I don't think so. Like
no.
The last involvement Duke had with WWE was the WrestleMania 17 Gimmick Battle Royal, I believe.
No, he was on 15th anniversary of Raw.
Was he?
He was. They did a Gimmick Battle Royal that night. He was in the Gimmick Battle Royal.
Well, good for Duke. I'm glad to see him. Look, he's a great person. Like I've known Duke for a while, and he's always been very kind to me, and he has got a pretty good mind for the business. His original gimmick before Duke was Rock of Gibraltar. That was his first gimmick.
Okay.
At Triple H terrorizing, that was a pretty bad one.
That was bad. Shit, I just had another one that just popped in my head, and now I forgot what the fuck it was. It was a New Generation gimmick.
Look at this. Friar Ferguson?
The Sultan. The Sultan was bad. Okay. Your gimmick is you can't talk. You don't cut promos. But your manager is the Iron Sheik, who nobody has ever been able to understand ever in his life. He's going to cut your promos and get you your heat.
I love Sheik.
I love Sheiky Baby. He'll break your fucking back, make you humble, bitch. And I love Rikishi. But, like, the Sultan was bad. What was Al Snow's gimmick?
Oh, the karate gimmick.
Avatar.
Yeah.
Avatar was Aldo Montoya was bad too.
Did they tag?
I don't think so. They should have. They have similar looking costumes.
That is a missed opportunity.
But yeah, if Justin Credible would have come in for the Attitude Era, I feel like he would have never been Aldo Montoya and never had that stink on him, because he would have slid right into the hardcore division and just been in there with Road Dogg and Al Snow and Hardcore Holly and shit. Justin Credible is a phenomenal I love Justin Credible. Fantastic name. When I was little, I never put it together. And then one day I was just like, oh, wait, I saw the promo that X Factor did backstage. And they were like, I'm just incredible. And I was like, yeah, you're just incredible. And then I was like, hold on. Slow it down.
The hamster got back on the wheel and starts going again.
Prince Albert, that was, not necessarily bad gimmick, just bad name.
Lord Tensai.
Tensai was bad.
Tensai was terrible.
That was basically what he was doing in Japan, but it wasn't he was just like a big dude that just like bodied people.
God, there's so many. Like,
was it WCW or WWF that had the Ninja Turtles, but they couldn't call them Ninja Turtles?
WWF.
Okay. And then WCW had another one. It was Brad Armstrong, and he was in a mask. He was Spider-Man, but not Spider-Man.
That was I think in WWE, because Marvel and Stan Lee threatened to sue them if they didn't get him off the screen. I remember that one.
Okay. What was it? Arachnaman?
Arachnaman, because he had like the Spider-Man webbing, and he shot like the things.
It was like yellow and purple, not blue and red.
Well, yeah, they couldn't completely steal the gimmick.
But that's a tough one.
I don't know. I think a fun one could be like, maybe if we do next top 5 could be top 5 most offensive gimmicks. There's a lot to choose from for that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of top fives out there that we got to do. Top 5 most offensive, top 5 favorite pay-per-views. A lot of top 5s.
We got SummerSlam coming up in a couple months. We do a little top 5 SummerSlam situation. Your boy will be there live in living color.
You're going to SummerSlam?
Yeah, dude. I told you.
That's right. Yeah.
Allie let me get tickets, and I found them there. Everybody was like, "Oh, those are obstructed view." I don't care. I'm gonna be too far away to see everything clear in the ring anyway. I'm gonna be staring at the giant television all night. And I'm gonna be. The point is, I'm at SummerSlam. That's what I'm getting at here. It's my first PLE in like almost 15 years.
Heck yeah, dude.
Fun fact: my last one was SummerSlam.
I can't remember the last one that I went to. Was a Raw or SmackDown?
SummerSlam was the last pay-per-view I went to. 2008, Taker, Edge, Hell in a Cell. Mwah.
Oh, I was at that one too. In Indy.
Yeah, glorious. Loved it. I'm hyped though. Yeah, we got some stuff coming out. Real quick before we hang it up, let's plug a show that we got going on, because June 29th, that's a Saturday, folks. In Lafayette, Indiana, at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds, we are doing Every Child Wins, a benefit show to support juvenile diabetes and muscular dystrophy. Come out, meet the stars. We got the franchise, Shane Douglas. We got the Sandman. We got the Queen of Extreme, Francine. And we got the OG whistleblower, the manager of stars, Bill Alfonso, along with a slew of wonderful matches. Come out. Support, show some love, come hang out with the boys. Me and Michael will be there. We're gonna be vlogging. We're gonna be getting stuff in for the day. We want to talk to the people,
and the people want to talk to you guys too.
I hope so.
All right, guys, well, that's gonna do it for this live stream. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and we will see you guys soon with another episode of Heated Shenanigans Podcast. So everybody